Ooh,
Clayton, how you doing? Good to see you.
I'm doing well, thank you. It's good to see you too.
Thanks for joining me in Destino. I really wanted to incorporate your work that you do here with us at Night Court. So we've been together for about like 3 seasons now, and you're in the accounting department.
Yep.
So would you be able to tell us your name and also what you do for Night Court?
Yeah, my name's Clayton Cox. I am a second assistant accountant in the accounting department here on Night Court. Our and yeah, our department is made up of three people: our lead accountant, our first assistant accountant, and I'm the second assistant accountant in the office. And then we also have a payroll accountant. So I guess it's four people. I shouldn't discount payroll accountant at all.
Yep, four total. What's a typical day for you on a sitcom?
So on a sitcom, well, let's just talk about Night Court because this is mostly the
Yeah.
job that I've been working on. And so I handle, as the second assistant accountant, I handle most of the accounts payable. So all the bills that are coming in, recurring and one time as well. So we handle, the process is, I watch for purchase orders that are made from departments, and that's to kind of like place a hold for some money that we're going to spend. So if we need to buy something, then we make a purchase order, and then that gets approved. It goes through approvals process, and then I enter that purchase order into our software. I use a lot of software as an accountant, different types of software, and then
Oh, can you name some of those?
so some of the software we use is PSL Plus. There is Green Slate that I'm familiar with. There is so for purchase orders, there's digital purchase orders and Smart PO. There might be some others out there, but those are the two main ones I'm familiar with. For accounting software, there is Smart Accounting and PSL and Green Slate. There are also some others out there, but those are the kind of main ones. And then for let's see, what are some of the other? Oh yeah, and then P card also P card purchases. Like if you're using your company credit card, there's a software or a website to use for that as well. That's called Cache that we
Yeah.
usually use. But there's a few different services that are offered. But that's one thing that I do is I go across all those platforms and kind of check in with all of those elements purchase and kind of stay on top of making sure the purchase orders are being approved. Once those purchase orders are approved and we receive a bill, those bills are sent to the appropriate departments and approved and match the purchase order. Like usually there's a purchase order made and then a bill comes in for that purchase order and you match them up and then you can approve them and then pay them. And we pay them by printing checks or doing a digital payment, an electronic payment. And I also handle a lot of the filing. So a lot of digital filing and making sure that everything is put in its right spot. We used to do a lot of physical filing quite a bit, but since 2020, since post COVID, we have gone to a very digital structure filing system for across the board, I think.
What kind of skills do you rely on to get your job done on a day-to-day basis?
Well, just being tech savvy enough to handle learning these different software platforms,
Mhm.
uh, and being detail oriented, very detail oriented, and having a knowledge of production is really helpful as well. Knowing what charges you're going to expect when, and know what recurring charges you should be expecting, and so I think that, and also just being able to do kind of tedious work that is very detail oriented. You have to check every single number and accurate accounting. Accurate accounting, it makes it to where the budget work matches and it keeps the ship running, I guess. So that's kind of the main thing is just being detail oriented and smart enough to maintain a filing system as well. So
Do you deal with multiple departments or is it just a specific one?
No, I deal with all the departments as an accounts payable. Any department that spends money or has a vendor, I am working with them. So I get to interface with all the departments from props to costumes. So I call anybody that we want to spend money with or want to we call them and set up an account. And so we'll set an account up with. I'll do that. I'll set up the account with the vendor. And then once that department head wants to spend money with those vendors, then we have that relationship, and it goes through me, and I have to go and get the appropriate approvals once the invoices do come in that need payment. So that's mostly what I do, but there's also like P cards that are involved in our department. We handle where you have a company credit card, and so we have kind of divided up the workload. So our first assistant accountant does a lot of the per P card reconciliation, but that's something that I do as well. And petty cash is something that we also have dealt with in the past, but we don't usually use a lot of petty cash anymore.
Yeah.
And then we also deal with reimbursements for employees. Some department heads need to buy something and they buy it and they need to get reimbursed, or somebody makes a purchase and puts it on their personal card by accident, and that happens. That's okay, but we'll need to reimburse people for that. So I'll process those as well. And then if you're on a show with locations, the accounting team will also issue locations fees and checks.
And you have been doing accounting for Night Court, but this is one of your not you haven't been doing it for so long. How was your process? How did you get into this?
Well, so I've been in production since 2011, and I have been a production coordinator for a long time. And so I was working on single camera television series and multi-camera television series up until about 4 years ago.
Uh-huh.
And I have been working with our lead accountant for a long time. And
Uh-huh.
as a coordinator, you deal with a lot of the same paperwork that accounting does with pay in regards to payroll, contracts, vendor contracts. And also you have a really broad knowledge of every department. You're kind of coordinating, you're facilitating at all these departments working and everything that they need to make a television show. So I saw the opportunity to move into accounting, and it's a little bit of another way to learn and have a more broad knowledge of production, and without having the most hectic schedule. It is a different type of work. It takes a different type of person. You need to be able to, in production, as a production coordinator, you're always on the go. You're in person, seeing face to face with a lot of people and interfacing with a lot of people. Well, I'm doing a lot of interfacing on my computer and details through, like I close my door. You see my door. I close it a lot, and I'm just in there typing away and getting things paid. So it's a different type of work. And I feel like it's helpful that I've had the knowledge of production and moving into accounting.
Well, if you were to do this any different or give yourself advice on how to get into this again, what would you do or what would you do differently?
I think that one of the things that when I got into the industry, I have not gone to college. I don't have a bachelor's degree. I didn't do any college, and I was very, very concerned about that. And I feel like through the years, I've been able to get a really good knowledge, a very excellent knowledge of production. And so I think that leaning on your skills, social skills, communication skills, your ability to be flexible, and then once you start, if you want to be in production, you're going to be looking for jobs in production, and there's lots of places to find your first step, your first foot in the door. But then once you get your foot in the door, being dependable, being able to and flexible, and then once you make those connections, leaning on your connections,
Yeah.
really lean on your coworkers, make sure that they know that you're available,
Yeah.
make sure that they don't you're on their mind when something might just happen to come up. And so it takes a lot of interacting and engagement with people. I mean, and not necessarily cold calling, but cold calling is like calling people, just making sure that they know that you're available is always is something that I would advise myself to do. Like
Yeah.
there are times when my very first job on Good Luck Charlie, my very first job, and all of a sudden we worked on season 3 and it was over. And I was like, what do I
Yeah.
do now? I don't know. And I was so scared, and I could, and instead of like calling and leaning on people that I knew, I just
Yeah.
kind of was frightened for the first little while. It is a scary situation to be in, but I think that putting yourself out there, and that's the advice I'd give myself. So.
Yeah, and it's mutual. I mean, that everybody feels that way. And it makes it even better when you're able to connect with those outside of work and on more of a personal level. So
Mhm.
it does help that. And then if you happen to be able to work on the same show again, I mean, that's just a bonus. That's a plus.
Mhm. Yeah. Yeah. And if you're interested in getting into accounting, it's a really good way to see how television productions are made, how much they cost. And there are ways with entertainment partners and cast and crew. They offer a lot of different courses, like
Okay.
for payroll, accounts payable. You can go to their websites and there's tutorials and things like that that you can check out to see kind of the nitty gritty.
Yeah.
And it's very boring, but
Thanks for the heads up.
it's essential to make a show. So we gotta pay vendors
Sure.
and pay rent and all sorts of things like that. So
And you're on payroll a lot of the season.
yeah, I am one of the very first people to come on to a show and one of the last ones to leave. Our team, we have to we make sure all the bills are paid until the very last person's gone and the last rental is returned, and then we hand it off to the studio. And so that means we are the very last people at the office on payroll, and sometimes the very first. So because we got to immediately start renting things, we got to immediately start paying people,
Yeah.
So we got to facilitate that in the accounting department.
Very cool. Thank you, Clayton. I appreciate your time and your chat.
All right, thank you, Hugo.